This week, we've got string trimmers, right angle drills, Surge hydraulic impact drivers,
Festool Rotex super fancy Metabo saws, the best string trimmers, safety glasses, and a very special guest from 731 Woodworks.
It's Matt. This is your Power Tool Week in Review.
Today's episode is brought to you by Ohio Power Tool, Pro Tools, Pro Service at the best prices at ohiopowertool.com. And Ego, power beyond belief.
Welcome back, Power Tool fans. I'm Rob.
Are you okay?
Yes, just a lot.
We have a lot of stuff to get to today. I'm Sarah, and this week we're going to quickly recap the Power Tool news, restock our empty Power Tool giveaway shelf with the help from Matt at 731 Woodworks. But first, Tim Johnson wants us to know what makes the DeWalt DCF 891 so special, so he decided to look inside. That is the DeWalt DCF 891 mid-torque impact wrench on the right and its older brother, the DCF 894 on the left. As Tim points out, the new 891 has already been tested and showed up with a whole heap of power, but he wanted to know why. So he did what any sane tool head would do and carefully weighed each one, tore them open, blew them apart, and played with the insides. It's always fun to watch Tim do this because he finds interesting variations and insight into the manufacturing process of some of our favorite tools. To learn way more about both of these drills than you knew that you wanted to know, head over to Shop Tool Reviews.
Did he at least put them back together?
Of course he did.
Oh, good.
You were worried about the tools, weren't you?
Somebody has to be. Speaking of people concerned about tools, our favorite Kiwi tool reviewer is back, this time with a Makita. Of course it's Makita. Living in New Zealand means he can get to Makita tools that we simply can't get here in the US, but not always. Once in a while he gets me excited about a tool I can actually buy. That is the Makita 40V XGT right angle drill, and if you're going to test something like that, it only makes sense to put it in the ring with the already capable Makita 18X2 36V version, which looks exactly the same. The stats are almost identical too, so it's already looking like a boring race. So to spice things up, tools added in the Milwaukee M18 Super Hog, and after putting them all to work, making some very big holes, it quickly becomes clear which one you should buy. To find out, watch the full thing over at Tools and Stuff.
We love watching Last Best Tool for detailed looks at hand tools, but this week he got his hands on the Milwaukee M12 Surge Impact and wanted to know if it was just as nice as its M18 brother. When we meet people buying their first Pro Tools, we are often asked about M12 versus M18 platforms. It's easy to simply buy the biggest, most expensive tool you can, but time and time again we find pros using the smaller M12 platform to get everything done at a lower price and in a smaller form factor. And the Surge is another great example. To review the M12 Surge, he not only compares it to the M18 Surge, but gives you a side-by-side with its standard M12 Impact as well. And yeah, the Surge is plenty powerful, but it's also incredibly quiet. He finds a lot to love in both Surge Impacts and notes that if you've never used a Surge before, you really don't know what you're missing. You can see the full review over at Last Best Tool.
Alright, now sure, it's nice to find a good $60 sander that gets the job done. But if we're being honest, we'd all much rather spend $660 on one, right?
Easily!
Well, Matt over at 731 Woodworks did just that, picking up a Festool to see if it's worth the 10x price. Now before you rush down into the comments to call Festool a bougie poser, let's mention a few things. First of all, Matt's a pro, and as he points out, he's not building one project a month, but multiple per week. And if you've got enough projects to sand, well, let's just say there's a reason why $500 plus sanders exist. That is the Festool Rotex RO150 6-inch sander. And Festool's been using this line to dominate high-end sanding for more than 30 years. It's extremely powerful and claims not only to tackle huge material removal, but also provide super fine results thanks to its eccentric motion design. It's also a really good polisher. To illustrate these cash-worthy features, Matt not only compares it to a far more affordable DeWalt, but even tosses in the smaller Festool 125. It's often hard to understand why a simple tool like a sander can reach such expensive heights, but Matt does a really good job of not only demonstrating the value, but helping you decide if it's valuable to you. You can watch the whole thing at 731 Woodworks.
Speaking of Matt, as we mentioned last week, we gave away another shelf of Pro Power Tools and Spider accessories to a random channel member, so we have to restock it with more tools. We asked you guys last week who we should ask to pick out this month's tools, and several people asked us about Matt at 731. And who better to help us build a woodworker shelf than him? So to do that, here's Matt.
Hey, Power Tool fans. See what I did there? Hey, thank you, Rob and Sarah, for inviting me to pick a shelf. I really appreciate this honor.
Oh, I promise it is our pleasure. Now, we gave you $1,500 to choose some of your favorite tools, so can you show us what you picked?
So here are the first few tools I chose and why I think every woodworker should have these. Rob and Sarah, the first tool I pick is the DeWalt DW618 router. It's a 2.25 horsepower router. It comes with a fixed base and it comes with a plunge base. This thing is so versatile. Probably one of my most favorite power tools I have in the shop. It's variable speed. It takes 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch collets. You can cut dados with it. You can cut edge profiles with it. You can plunge cut with it. Again, the most versatile tool in a wood shop is a router, and this one is an excellent choice. My second pick is the drill and driver set from DeWalt. This is one of the most used tools in the shop will be your drill and driver, and you need one that's gonna last a long time, and DeWalt makes some of the best quality tools on the market. I had a chance to get a set in and review it on the channel a while back and just love the quality of DeWalt tools. Another workhorse in the wood shop is a sander and a DeWalt sander. Again, so all your tools are gonna match. It's one of the most versatile. I've had this one for a very long time and it has served me well. There's no telling how many hours I have sanding on this sander, and you're not gonna be disappointed with this one. You'll love it as much as anybody can love sanding anyway. No woodworker feels complete until they have a set of chisels, and Narex makes some of the best on the market. I'm a fan of Narex chisels. I had some in the shop and was able to review those on a sharpening video, and they're excellent. They're really, really good, and you'll be using chisels all the time for just taking off little bites of wood, or if you need something to fit just right, that's where the chisel's gonna come in handy, and they'll last you for years and years to come. They don't call me the Pocket Hole King for nothing. My next pick is the Pocket Hole Jig. I think it's one of those most versatile tools other than the router in the wood shop because you can build so much cabinetry, even furniture. I built tons and tons of furniture with pocket holes and they've lasted for years now. So this is my pick, the Masca M2 Pocket Hole Jig. Has support wings out to the side, has a really nice, solid, durable clamp, drills really nice pocket holes. You'll get a gray one. This one's gold. It was made for me by Masca, but this is one of my picks because you can do so much with pocket holes. When I started woodworking, I didn't realize how much accuracy mattered, and that's where this comes in. This is the Woodpecker's Indexable Square, by far my most favorite square in the shop because, again, it's versatile, and I'm a big fan of versatility if you haven't noticed. What I love about the Woodpecker's Indexable Square is its combination square. So you've got a 45 degree and you've got the 90 degree. This slides up and down easily, and this little feature right there will allow it to sit easily on your stock, and you can slide it back and forth. That way you can scribe lines, make measurements. It's just an all-around excellent tool. You can see those little scribe marks in there that you can set your pencil in. Then you can draw parallel lines to the face. You can do 45 degree angles the same way. It's just an excellent all-around tool. When accuracy matters, this is what I pick up, any type of woodpecker's tools, but specifically this Woodpecker's Indexable Square is my favorite. I've got an awesome pick coming next week you're gonna like. Be sure and tune in. If there's something I haven't picked yet, be sure and comment below and let me know that. I'll be reading those comments. Rob and Sarah, thank you again for letting me pick the shelf.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Matt. So guys, like he said, if there are any tools that you would like to see him put on his production crew shelf, let him know in the comments below. We will, of course, also include a ton of spider bits and blades because, come on, what's the point of winning a bunch of pro tools if you don't have the pro accessories to go with them? Matt will be back next week to wrap up his choices.
Now, if you're ready to upgrade to Flex, Lowe's is running a promotion right now that gives you 10% off a $300 purchase, 20% off a $400, or 30% off a $500 purchase. Let's be honest, people, you can't afford not to save that money. Just try that line on your wife.
Oh, brother. All right, moving on. Todd over at Project Farm was back testing outdoor power equipment this week, this time testing the best string trimmers he could find. That included examples from Ego, Milwaukee, DeWalt, Ryobi, Cobalt, Makita, Alice, and Echo. And yes, Todd's reviews are always thorough, creative, and useful. They also have this wallet-draining effect that we just can't identify. But once in a while, I think he just has tools so he can bash them on the ground. He also weighs each one and takes them into a field of deep grass to see which one is fastest. There are tests for startup torque and even compares their debris shields because who doesn't love grass and dirt in their eyes?
Me.
If you are thinking of getting your first battery-powered string trimmer, be sure to visit the farm first.
All right, guys, it's time again to visit our friends Torque, Test, and Channel, the torque testing trio of tool torque testers who test tool torque on the Torque Test channel. Whoa there, I thought you said no more torque drinking games.
I said no more for you. I can hold my liquor.
Yeah, fair point. The TTC team took a break from testing torque.
Psych! Say torque again. Say torque again. Do it, do it, do it.
I think that's enough drinking games.
It's apple juice.
Okay. The TTC team took a break from testing torque to play with a ton of impact adapters because, as they point out, you may have the right socket, but you don't always have the right tool for the job. So of course, they do what any tool torque testing trio would, and they put like 10 of them on an impact driver and see just how much torque they lose. And as always, there's way more to learn here than you think. You can catch it all at the test channel.
Boo!
Torque test channel.
Metabo recently launched the KS18 track saw, and we want to know why we haven't seen any of you guys review this yet. Our buddy Murray got his hands on one over on Instagram, and this clever setup makes it easy to cut very precise miters on the job site while you're framing. It's a saw track built into a saw. Can I have this, please? Let us know when one of you review it here on YouTube.
I don't know if you guys know this about Sarah and I, but we love cars.
And motorcycles.
And motorcycles. So the two of us watch a lot of Donut Media here on YouTube. Now these guys are knowledgeable, informative, but most of all, super entertaining. So when they started a new summer series called Tool Party, we were here for it. Every week they choose a tool in their shop, buy a cheap one, an expensive one, and usually a middle-of-the-road one, and proceed to test them in creative and entertaining ways. Now this week they took on safety glasses, like only Joe and Jeremiah could. They shoot them, burn them, and force them to watch grinding wheels explode at very close range. Now, I realize these guys make tool testing look cool, but remember,
don't try this at home, even though it looks super fun.
good advice. This Tool Party series has already covered torque wrenches, impact wrenches, and even Dremel tools. Each one is easily worth the watch. You can find them all over at Donut Media.
I want to thank Ego and Ohio Power Tool for sponsoring this episode. We couldn't do it without you. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, please share a free thumbs up, and if you loved it, well, I hope that you subscribe.
Okay, guys, if you can, go do something kind for someone else this week, and we'll see you next week.
The Axes!
Oh yeah. Really quick, during the last production crew meeting.
That's our weekly private live stream for our channel members.
Yep. So Sarah and I kind of got into a fight.
Sure.
Yeah.
So Sandy, one of our members, suddenly tipped us $20 so I could go buy a Nerf gun to shoot Rob. That's
Right.
super thoughtful, Sandy.
Right. Thanks, Sandy. But when Sarah actually on the live stream went to go buy a gun, the rest of our members kind of started throwing money into it so she could buy a bigger one.
And it kind of got out of hand.
Yeah, so now we have $220 to spend on Nerf guns.
But I have a better idea.
She does.
We've decided to build an axe throwing booth right here next to our studio, and we're going to use the money to buy some really, really nice throwing axes so our production crew can throw axes with us when they all eventually come out to visit.
Yep. We have adventures like this every week with our production crew, and we absolutely love it. If you'd like to be a part of our community of tool fans, we hope you consider joining our channel. That's it.
All right, bye!